In the right place, but it must have been the wrong time. I done said the right thing, but it must have used the wrong line. I've been on the right trip, but I must have used the wrong car. Head is in a bad place, and I wonder what it's good for. I've been in the right place, but it must have been the wrong time. My head is in a bad place, but I'm having such a good time. I've been running, trying to get hung up in my mind.
Previously on Blown Away, we left Espalmador, Formentera, and headed up the west coast of Ibiza with very little wind. It made for very comfortable motoring. We decided to go into the marina in San Antonio as we needed gas, water, and more provisions. While we were there, we decided to take a bike ride across the island to Ibiza Old Town. Unfortunately, the weather didn't play ball and it turned into the bike ride from hell. We left San Antonio and anchored off Isla Conejera. There was a breeding colony of rare seabirds nesting, so we couldn't go ashore, so instead we went scuba diving. We left at sunrise the following morning and headed for the Columbret Islands. Once we were tied up, Ian jumped in to check the mooring and saw some very strange jellyfish creatures. The next day we headed on to San Carlos.
We are absolutely inundated with fake wasps, hoverflies, those little black and yellow things.
Every time I close my eyes, it's you, and I know now who I am.
Not supposed to do that, is it? Read the instructions.
Is there water in it?
Probably.
Stay. Don't walk. Take two. Ian just fixed the engine issue, the outboard.
Okay.
It had seemed to have an issue with the water coming out of it. The fitting was a bit blocked up,
Very blocked up.
and therefore the water was not leaving the outboard as it should. So we just rode back to the boat, but Ian managed to fix it in the water anyway, and now we're on our way to the beach. Who needs a car window? So Nelson's been cooped up on the boat because we were in a marina, and he couldn't really get off because it was all marina, and then into smart streets and restaurants. So he's been cooped up on the boat for 4 or 5 days now, because it was in the marina in San Antonio. Then we went to an island where nobody was allowed ashore because of a last colony of a certain type of seabird. Then we went to the Columbrats, and the dinghy wasn't in the water, so there was no way of getting ashore again. And we've just arrived in San Carles de Repita, and somebody's very, very happy. Nelson, where's your stick? Nelson, where's your stick?
It's a dog that won't step ashore and get wet.
Yeah.
New shoes!
Hey! Hey! You stood on my new shoes.
Hang on. Let's see you. How's your new shoes?
My new shoes are cool. They're like proper sandals.
They don't fall off like flip-flops.
They don't fall off like flip-flops.
Living the dream. Yes, that is our anchor float 40 metres away.
Why is it 40 metres away, honey?
Because we live aboard. So we just got hit by a big squall. I don't know if you can hear outside, but there's thunder and lightning crashing around all over the place. The wind came, that had to be 180 degree shift, no? We were facing the other way.
Yeah.
Just a 180 degree shift in the wind. It went from, what I got to, 20, 25?
Easy.
Easy. Probably,
80 metres.
we probably hit 30 knots of wind. So probably hit 30 knots of wind almost instantly in the opposite direction to which we laid. So the anchors popped out. But we heard it coming. We were on, pretty much on anchor watch straight away. We were watching the AIS because we got an anchor watch set on that, and also just fired up the chart plotter as well. So the chart plotter is now on, and we've moved maybe 100 metres from where we originally were, maybe 100 metres.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've moved maybe 100 metres, and our anchor's reset. It's pretty soft bottom here, but the shock load that went on that anchor must have been massive, because it would have just popped it out, twisted it, and then had to reset itself. So with the speed we moved at, I'm not surprised. The engineer slash captain slash seamstress was bringing.
Okay, so it's Sunday. We've done a lot of sewing repairs and sewing jobs. We've put all the new fender socks on. We're in the process of we've done the new fly screen, mosquito hatch, and Ian is currently in the process of doing yoga.
Straighten out that back.
What he's actually doing is fighting with the sewing machine to repair some of the zips and clips and things for the stack pack. We've also done a repair on the front boom tent cover. Just patches where the white material, white stitching has been on there for so long, not very UV resistant, and just literally the sun is just killing it off. So Ian's just finished the starboard side of the stack pack, so we're going to put that back on and take off the port side.
What are we doing now?
We're filling the dive bottles with the dive compressor.
Have we got any neighbours?
Quite a few. It's Sunday afternoon.
Oh no.
We're right near a beach.
Uh-oh.
They shouldn't have parked in our garden.
Absolutely.
What happened to the dinghy cover? We've made some amendments to it.
Yeah, we made some adjustments.
We added another strip of webbing.
Yeah, another strip of webbing so that we can hold the heavy gauge rope in position.
Yeah, what happened here?
That's to remind me that wherever I go, every country has its own rules.
Yeah.
Every country has its own rules, and you have to abide by those rules.
Okay, cool. Good. So, Ian, what are you doing?
Currently stripping back these teak locker lids,
Yeah.
and I'm either, well, these are going to stay as natural now. I'm not going to revarnish these.
Like these ones?
Yeah.
We've already done a couple.
They're all waiting to be sanded down, and then I'm going to re-Sikaflex them, tidy them up, basically.
Cool.
Yeah. So, because this stuff's pretty strong, the varnish what is on here is called a product called Colan. It's very expensive. It's very good stuff, but this is very old. It's been on here a long time. I put it on here originally to protect the lockers from the dog because it just damages everything it comes in contact with.
Okay.
The dog's nearly. The dog is 8 now, so it can't be here much longer, right? So maybe then I can have an attractive boat.
Maybe. Until then, you just get the love and joy of the dog.
Until then, I'm stripping varnish. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Stripping. I'm doing some stripping.
Cool.
What are you doing?
Me, I'm doing some editing currently, down below. I just needed some more footage of Ian stripping.
About 400 fishing boats came out of San Carles this morning. The noise was like a Formula 1 racetrack, and then the boat started rocking around for a bit, which woke me up. So I got up, and as I got up I made a cup of tea and woke the dog up. So then the dog wanted to go out, so I took the dog out, washed up on the beach with the waves and the ferries and fishing boats. And then I thought it'd be a good opportunity to do some exercise. And I went for a swim as the sun came up. The water's not brilliant, there's no clarity to the water, but it is fairly clean, it's open to the ocean, so it's just a bit green in the lagoon. But, yeah. So Natalie, behind you is the fish market with a public viewing area. Ta-da! Here's one I made earlier, and it's very interesting to be over there when the fish boats drop off their catch, because then you can watch what they unload, and it all comes through on a conveyor belt, and then the shops and the local businesses bid on the fish.
Cool.
It's very interesting.
We should go. Maybe we could combine that with the open day of a fast ferry.
Well, somebody's got a sharp tongue about her this morning.
So this is San Carles de Repita, and this is where we're hoping to haul out by the latest the 11th of June to do some anti-foul and some welding work. But in the meantime, we're hoping that maybe we can come into the marina onto one of these pontoons behind me to maybe get the electrician on and get some work started.
Natalie, what do you notice different about this marina in comparison to any other Mediterranean marina?
It's not stone too bad. They've all got finger pontoons.
They've all got finger pontoons. Do you know why?
No.
Because it's full of British boats that can't go backwards.
San Carles de Repita Marina.
Yeah, breeding ground for all kinds of 8-legged, 6-legged and 4-legged critters that bite, nibble, chew and infest. Uh-oh, crash and burn.
From my RTA, which I'm still suffering from. Look.
Ow. So yeah. It's very early for the British. Shh.
Sorry.
And the Marinera doesn't know we're here yet.
Okay, where are we?
San Carles Marina. Shh. Look out.
Did we sneak in undercover?
Yeah, like secret squirrel, like ninjas, black shirts, everything.
Black shirt.
Hoodie on.
He gives the game away.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, the red neon dog.
What are we doing here?
We're here for trouble.
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 Cool.
Now we're here for maintenance. I have an electrician coming in at 8 o'clock, but I don't think we'll let in until 12 o'clock because we didn't pay for last night.
Don't tell anyone, it'll be fine.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Cool.
Anything to save 20 euros. Live board.
Live bored.
Live board. Get to do a secret handshake.
Can I hold the GoPro? So yeah, it's a lovely morning. It's 31st of May 2018. We've just arrived in the San Carles Marina. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. We left our little anchorage about 6:15. Motored over here. Snuck into our berth without alerting the marineros because we didn't want to wake them up. It's quite early, but we've got an electrician coming on board at 8. So yeah, Ian's just hosing the deck down quickly. We're all tied up, it's all good. And yeah, gonna have a couple of days of maintenance here before we go to the yard just to get things started, and then hopefully go to the yard for a haul out. And my tea's cold.
Uh-oh. So what just happened, Matt? We were eating cake, drinking coffee.
No, we were eating a nice healthy salad, honey.
It was cake.
Okay, it was cake.
From the patisserie. We got kicked out because we had to close for lunch. Can't quite figure that one out. The coffee shop closed for lunch and we're now sat outside on the tables, still using the Wi-Fi and uploading some videos.
Yeah, it's good.
But no coffee.
No coffee, no cake. Although the cake was yummy.
It was yummy.
BA is anchored just here. And this is a little restaurant that the boat takes people to. So these are all the fishing boats that go out every morning at about 4:30, come back about 5 o'clock in the evening. Nice and colourful, all the nets and everything on the dock. And the ironic sign.
No fishing.
So we're back at anchor in the lagoon. We've just left the San Carles Marina this morning because the rates go up as of the 1st of June. Today is the 1st of June and nobody is working on our boat, so we decided to save ourselves 210 euros. So projects are underway at anchor. We've got the generator running because we need some power tools and things. So we've done a little bit of wiring with the instruments and the VHF.
This here is where the new power cable is going to come through.
The shore power.
Shore power, yeah. So I'm taking that off and putting in the new piece of nylon that you bought.
Yeah.
Making an insulated electrical
Plug.
Yeah, I've got a shore power plug that's going to go through the hatch. Normally it goes in through here,
Yeah.
through the open hatch.
Through this little
There's
gap
a
here.
little groove to cut there for the power cable, which is annoying.
Yeah.
And I've made a hole the other side because if there was a ventilation hole that is no longer required.
Yep.
We don't need it anymore. So I'm going to use that to run the shore power cable through. But I need to, because it's a steel boat, I need to insulate everything from 240 volt.
Okay.
So that if there's a short circuit, nobody touches the hull of the boat and dies. So the electrical connection is going to go through an insulated nylon block that used to be a chopping board. So I'm just drilling it out now, and then when the cables and everything, the connectors turn up, I'll cut a big hole in this that's going to be the socket.
Yeah.
And then the power cable from shore power or from the generator just plugs straight into this, and the whole boat's ready to go.
Cool. Good.
Perfect.
Cool.
The microphone cable because the socket, this one here, is snapped.
Okay,
So,
for the VHF.
For the VHF, yeah. So we'll be able to operate the VHF from outside.
Yeah.
And that's the microphone for the VHF, which has been sitting in that cupboard for quite some time. And oh look, it's already frayed out. So I need to put some tape around that for now, but it will still work.
Good.
Good enough.
Yep.
And we have a depth gauge. So the bottom one's wind, which works.
Okay.
And these all kind of linking together on a daisy chain system, C-torque or whatever it is. And the top one is depth, that one. And it already has 2 connections in it, but one of them should be coming from the transducer, and the transducer is no longer in use because the transducer now feeds the big Simrad touchscreen computer thingy. So what I'm hoping to do is connect a cable from the touchscreen Simrad,
Yeah.
an IS-12 cable, which I've got, and the plugs are the same, so I'm kind of plug it into the system there, feed the cable through up to here and into the depth unit, and then potentially we get the depth numbers as well.
Cool.
Maybe, I don't know, it's speculative. It's an old system, the computer's new, or newish, only about 3 years old, whereas that lot's about 12 years old, so
Okay.
we'll see. But it's like £1,500 to replace those.
So we'll try it and then we'll see if it works.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
On one side you've got a nice bolt, on the other side you've just got a Phillips screw with a nut on the end. Yeah, the wire that I'm feeding on that side has done the same on this side.
Yeah, I think it's locked in.
Yeah.
Wire to stop it coming loose.
Yeah.
Remember to go slow with the camera.
This is
Slow pans.
Nelson. Nelson. Okay,
TV antenna.
yeah, I got that. Nelson, Nelson. Ready? Ready? the crab. Okay, so the final adjustment to our dinghy cover is to attach a big, large rope to the base of it so that it acts as a bit of a rubbing straight. We've had the rope cut for a while, but we just need to actually attach it to the boat now. Our plan is to tie it between the two lines of the two holes on the two strips of webbing. So that's Nelson in the distance. I threw a stick for him and he ran out there with a big heavy piece of wood that doesn't float, which he's quite like playing with over the last couple of days. And now he's lost his big heavy piece of wood and he's trawling around trying to find it. And he's gone miles and miles and he's been searching for about 10 minutes now. The search continues. So I think I just located the piece of wood that Nelson's been searching for the last 20 minutes. There it is!
Where's your stick? Go on, where's your stick?
So, almost invisible fixings for the rope on the dinghy cover. Ian's continuing on down there. The dog is still looking for something.
Why are we putting this rope on here?
Why are we putting the rope on there, Ian?
Because the last dinghy cover ended up eating through where it's up against dock walls and things like that. So when we go ashore, walking the dog or for whatever reason, shopping, bicycles, wherever, this thing ends up tied to a wall somewhere, usually a fish dock, maybe it's a bit of rough concrete. Fenders never end up in the right place, so we had a piece of old line kicking around. So I punched a bunch of eyelets into the webbing that we sewed on here.
Yep.
And then I am tying on this line. And rather than have the green cord, the paracord stuff around the outside where it's going to eat through and then it will walk loose, I'm using a fid, traditional piece of equipment, to open the lay of the rope up, and then I'm threading the line through the lay of the rope and then tying it off that way. So it's not a case of making it just invisible, it's also making it wear resistant. So the cord that's attaching the rope to the cover won't eat through on the dock.
Cool.
That's the plan, isn't it? What's this? And it ain't all sunshine and roses, right? And we've already dragged anchor this morning. The float that I put down, the pickup float, ended up hooked around the rudder or something. And now it's pissing down the rain.
What are you doing, Ian? What are you doing?
Well, this teak's been sanded and sanded and sanded and sanded. And in places the Sikaflex is worn away and it's only like 2mm thick. So I don't have a router, but what I do have is a Dremel with a metal cutting disc, because metal's pretty tough, right? Sikaflex is soft, so this bumps Sikaflex out. And then I'm just recutting the grooves in the wood a little bit deeper,
Yep.
following the line of the Sikaflex, And then what I'll do is I'll put masking tape down through this to protect the timber, and then I'm going to re-sicker some of the thinner stuff.
Okay.
I'm doing at the moment. So these two are okay. These two are fine. They just need epoxy from underneath to make them a bit stronger underneath, because they're a bit porous underneath, so the wood soaks up some moisture. I don't want that. Teak's a hardwood, so it's thick grain. You don't get much moisture going in through this, but the backing plates are, I'll show you, it's easier. So the backing plates are ply.
Okay.
I've already sanded this one down ready to epoxy and paint, so once I've done some of this I'll epoxy and paint, and then they'll be good for another 5-10 years probably.
Perfect.
That's a plan anyway, because I hate doing this.
Cool.
This is, I think from memory, the 3rd time that I have gone at these locker lids.
Cool.
This one over here was replaced, not by me, by the previous owner. This one I managed to put a foot through it when we imported Petra. It split.
No, that was this one.
Was it that one? Oh yeah, it was this one. So that one's all been epoxied and stripped out and repaired. This one's already been done. This one was done 2-3 years ago. This one was done 2-3 years ago.
Cool.
I can't afford to replace them. They're stupidly expensive to get them remade.
Yeah.
And the teak that they use is not that environmentally friendly, because it's it all comes from kind of illegal sources, shipped in through Turkey and places like that, and I don't agree with it.
Okay.
We shouldn't be cutting down our forests. So I kind of, yeah, I'll keep using this until it's too late and then rethink it.
Good.
Probably won't be my problem then. Is what I cut out and replaced when we were in Porta Petra. So all this plywood is marine grade ply, so it's good quality, but it's best to seal it. If you seal it, there's less chance that the water's going to get in there, and less moisture you get in it, the longer it lasts. So I'm using a West System epoxy with some paint thinners in there to thin it right down. The thinner the viscosity of the epoxy, the more it soaks into the timber. So this is a pre-coat. You can buy a product called epoxy seal, which is very similar to what I've basically mixed up, and all it does is just seals the green. So I'm going to do the backs of these a couple of times hopefully, and this will just soak in, and then it will go absolutely rock hard.
Perfect.
Yeah, and then fingers crossed I never have to change these bloody things again, because this is the 2nd time I've done this. Try and do is blend it in, and then I've got for the heavier stuff, if I was putting it on like a proper filler,
Yeah.
this is just a primary coat,
Yeah.
so this is just to stop it going corroded overnight.
Okay.
But this will seal it now, so if it does rain tonight,
Yeah.
it won't matter. Whereas if I left this as bare material and it
Yeah.
rained, it's going to soak it up like a friggin' sponge.
Okay.
Because the top half of this, along there, where that crack
It's wood.
is metal frame underneath and then wood on top.
Yeah.
And it's not great wood. It's soft ply at best. So what I've done is ground back in to open it up, and then just trying to work this into the gaps basically.
Yeah. So we're doing a couple of repairs to the coach roof. At the moment when it rains there's a couple of little cracks, so when it rains heavily you get a few drips inside. So we're just repairing those with some West epoxy and some high density filler. Just trying, Ian's ground the back with the Dremel to get all the rusty metal out, and now he's just epoxying them to make them watertight, and when we're actually out in the yard we'll do the job properly, we'll sand it back, we'll paint it. So yeah, this is a temporary fix at the minute, in preparation to the final job later on, probably next week.
Yes, you just need to make sure that you put more on than you need because you sand it back.
Yeah.
What I often find is you end up wasting material with this stuff because you don't put enough on. throw some away, and then you end up with a dent, and you have to mix more of it up to get rid of the dent.
Yeah.
So you're better off. But now I'm not applying a lot of pressure, I'm just trying to build up that repair so that when it's sanded down it ends up flush.
Yeah. What are you doing, Ian?
Prep. Just flatten this back, and then I'm going to put a coat of white on it for now, and then once we finish in the yard and everything else needs to be painted white, so all the scuppers and everything else are full of rusty stains, I'm going to paint everything white again.
This is only quite so bad at the moment because Ian's been grinding the metal out from just here, and that's metal grinding's gone over to the scupper.
It comes off with oxalic acid, but there's no point, I'm just going to paint over it.
Very cool.
We could do revenge, 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 revenge. Together, together, together. We could take revenge, 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 revenge is sweet.
So the forward area here has had a bit of epoxy on it, and so is the base of the saddle post. So it's all epoxied, ready to be sanded back slightly and painted, I guess.
Yep, paint next, just this bow section. And as I said, I got to go over it all with one final coat when everything's replaced, so there's no point in me doing too much.
Good.
It's always nice to have a bilge monkey on board, someone that can get into small inaccessible spaces for repairs. And this morning we found a bit of a problem that we're trying to repair at the moment, and the only access is in there. So hello, Nat.
Yeah, it's getting a bit warm now.
Okay, have you stuck it on?
No,
Why not?
I've got it in my hand waiting for you to be up top.
Okay, so yeah, I gotta go clean this stainless a little bit, but
Bright and shiny paint.
yeah, it's
Samson post.
it's a pre-coat, so it's a pre-coat, so the part of the yard stay, this wood and this top piece of metal here is like an L section, and it's corroded and the rust keeps coming back through, which is why you saw these rusty streaks and shit in the scuppers, and I'm sick of cleaning it. So the plan is to cut the top inch of this off. So all this steel work, I'll cut this steel off. I'll be able to reuse the wood. The wood's not that old, it's only about 6 years old, this timber, it's Iroko. So I'll use an angle grinder with a cutting disc, and I'll cut all the way down here. So I'm going to lop off the top 50mm, 2 inches of the boat, and replace all that steel wood with stainless steel. Cool. So that when we bolt all this wood back down, we don't get any corrosion, and that I don't have to keep painting this every year because I'm sick of painting it.
Good.
These screws are on. Needs to be more. Needs to be more.
What can I do for you? Next time on Blown Away, the boat gets hauled out and the real work begins.
doing that.